ULCS, everyone is going to be so mad if they don't make playoffs. They were so close.
Every game counts this year.
There we go. We're just going to overuse it in the first 2 games so the other casters can't use it.
Is that how that works?
It's smart.
I don't think we'll be done with it just yet. Do want to track how these early junglers go, though. You mentioned Memento really hasn't had a lot of success on the Sejuani.
It's just the thing about Roccat and the way they get ahead in games is it's Memento being active in the early game, typically on something where you can duel the enemy jungler and be a threat that way. And then it's Noscaron leaving his lane and kind of roaming around the map, teaming up with Memento, get someone like Blank or Prophet going. It was Prophet early in the split when he was playing a lot of split pushers. He's now mainly been on tanks, so it has to be more about Blank specifically. And without Memento and Noscaron being active, Roccat don't really get early leads. Blank doesn't win his lane on his own. Same thing can be said for Prophet now when he's on these different tanks. So they need that jungle support duo. And when teams are then actually pushing in the bottom lane, which we have seen like last week as one of the examples with Fnatic against Roccat, Noscaron and Hiko are stuck under the turret, and then Roccat, they can't really make anything happen in the early game, and they just end up kind of falling behind and lose. It's something we've seen a few times already from them, and Syra Khan here, Misfits are trying to do exactly the same. Just push them under the turret, force Noscaron to never move.
Yeah, and this is the tough thing, especially for Memento to try and keep pace up against Maxlor, who is honestly a very, very different type of jungler. He's wanted to be this big carry player, and he's done it in the early game. The dude might actually be an early game god.
Yeah, he's, in my opinion, been the best early game jungler of the split. Now, because Misfits have had a really bad habit of playing really poorly around the mid-game team fights, then the early lead Maxlor tends to get just kind of falls apart. And suddenly, it doesn't look that great for anyone on Misfits' side, but the early game numbers are insane, like super high kill participation, great K plus A, so he's active, he's succeeding with it, and he's the main reason they get ahead early.
I mean, if you have like a 7-9 record after getting those types of numbers early, like that's when you're just like, team too heavy. I can't do it, guys. Maxlor's definitely having a hard time.
Done his job early game.
In the early game.
I do think in team fights, he's also been one of the problems. It's kind of been a team-wide thing, but he's not exactly played them perfectly on his side.
Yeah, and Misfits, this is why they have such kind of like a wonky record, right? Like they beat these top teams. They have a 2-0 against Fnatic, but it doesn't matter because Fnatic are locked in first.
It's actually sad that having a 2-0 against the #1 team effectively is useless now when it comes to head-to-heads.
We're back to those fun best-of-1 days too. There used to be something people would say about that, but I won't quote it here.
And also a reminder, last time they played Roccat, which was one of these losses against the bottom 5 teams, they got almost perfect gamed.
Oh, that's right,
They got one objective on their side. That was it. Roccat stomped it early on. Won't be the same in this game due to the draft, of course, being more late game focused on Rockat's side and very defensive. But destruction last time they played.
But let's talk about what they can definitely do different this time. We know that Senkux loves being on these like roam-happy mid laners. He's hit level 6, so he's going to have the Weaver's Wall available. Alphari can teleport in. The Camille damage early is going to be big, but of course it's going to be matched by what Prophet can do with Stand United. So where do Misfits look to strike first?
Go top, kill the Shen.
Gank the teleport, I like it.
Yeah, attack the global, don't go bot lane against what is going to be a stopwatch AD carry plus a Tahm Kench. It is a lot riskier unless you can actually force out the cooldown. So top lane tower dive is going to be more effective on their side. It might have to be a longer one because you got to wait for the Shen W to run out.
Oh, Fari does get a little too close and taunted up by Prophet, forces him to hookshot away. And they also had the pings immediately on Maxlor. They could see him coming.
I want to see if Roccat wants to lane swap. Because one of the answers then, if a team wants to push with Taliyah, then go top lane and just kill your top laner, is you just have the Tahm Kench and the Ezreal a bit late in the laning phase. Lane swap to top side with Tahm Kench ulti and try and push down the first turret of the game. Stop any sort of like roaming ganks happening from Senkux. It's a little bit too early for them now because they're only level 4 on Noscaron, so they have to wait for next back and just kind of hold on. Except they're going to get pushed in both side lanes. Actually, all 3 lanes in this case. They have the weaker 1v1 jungler on the side of Roccat. They have 3 lanes that will push against them. It should be enough freedom for Misfits to get an early lead. But at the moment, it's just based on farm and no kills yet.
Not too dissimilar from the last game we saw, of course. So very, very slight lead for Misfits thanks to that farm differential. Mostly in that bottom lane, a little bit up in the top as well. But Rocket don't seem to be too phased about getting pushed in. It's all about that late game. It's all about getting the Azir powerful.
They know. Keep stalling, defensive vision on top side to spot the roam from Senkux. Maxlore now gets spotted by this ward here, so they know he's top side, contesting the red buff. Mento is around, can try and steal it away from Maxlore.
Okay, let's see if he can get that steal away. Bringing friends, of course, in plain sight. Let's see if Memento wins that smite fight. He's going to be coming in, takes it away, and they want to take the fight instead. Ice pull on, flashing over for Senkux, and it looks like Rocket are the ones who want to take the fight. Senkux is isolated from the team. That's first blood.
So what happened right there was quite interesting. Maxlore expected to walk into that jungle unnoticed. After he placed that control ward in that little brush in the river, it didn't spot the ward just outside in time, so Maxlore actually suddenly was spotted. He walked in, Rocket reacted in time, instantly move up and match it with Shen ult and just get the kill. This could have been a very easy play. Maxlore was not spotted walking in, and Senkux roams up to top side. Rocket are not 100% sure if the jungle is in there. They don't know if Senkux is going for a top lane tower dive, and they can't react as quickly, so he places the ward, spotted by this one, just outside the range, sees it now, of course, that it dies, but he's already spotted. It's very easy for Rocket to react a little bit faster than normal and be like, yeah, we're going to go for this play.
Yeah, Maxlore's just out of there. Forces Senkux to flash over. Memento brings in him, and this is that global composition. They're able to take the fight better. Okay, Emperor's Divide. Meanwhile, in the mid, they are looking for Senkux. Memento and Blanc on top of him. Memento's going to take that one before the teleport completes.
Flash and clenched used last time by Senkux.
This is not good. 0-2 for the Misfits mid laner. Now, the kills might have gone the way of Rocket's jungler at this point, but Blanc is perfectly happy with this. He's able to keep up and farm. He's honestly a big win condition even when he's not the only carry on the team.
It's true.
Blanc is like the key player when Rocket wins games.
There's such a big difference between wins and losses when it comes to Blanc's performance, because often when Rocket win, it's because Blanc gets to farm in his lane, gets 2 items very quickly, becomes a strong team fighter, and deals a ton of damage for his team. Great. But typically when Blanc gets shut down, Rocket fall really far behind, and then they don't have enough damage, and they can't win late game fights, and then it all just kind of looks really bad. This game, he got 2 early assists. He's winning on CS. He's against a mid laner with no summoners. This is the perfect start for a Rocket team that tends to win games when the mid laner is doing well early.
Yep, now he's got the Nashor's Tooth. We're going to take a look at how that fight started as we got to the last replay.
Well, he has no summoners. He thinks the enemy mid laner is back in base. And Mento is around and kills him.
Yep, and that minefield did absolutely nothing. So we're 10 minutes into this game. It's Rocket that find themselves ahead. 1,000 gold. The difference, 2 kills right now to offset the farm advantage that Misfits had gained.
But this is the Taliyah comp from Misfits' side that has been unsuccessful at playing the early game against the scaling comp. This is a nerfed early game Azir who is just free farming in his lane. The moment he gets towards the late game, he's just as strong as before, can easily carry games.
Yeah, it's bad for Misfits right now. They're gonna
really
need
bad
to find some early kills. Maxlore's got to be a big part of that, but what can he do here? He can't exactly 1v1 Memento, who's throwing down wards in his own jungle.
Oh, Memento, he's strong in this game here.
Yeah, talk about Sejuani not being very good for him. It looks like he's figured out his way around it.
For this game at least, after they surprised Misfits at the red buff and then return ganked the mid laner. Kind of hard to fully blame Senkux for it, because it was very clearly the team call to go for red buff there. And then he just ends up being the target that gets jumped, and then of course when there's no flash after, easy to gank him. But another thing that's important to highlight is because Misfits have lost so many games against bottom teams, their head-to-head against them is horrible.